Hey guys, welcome to Rich with Cars. I'm Rich. We're going to be going over an ownership experience of the Corvette C8 in terms of modifying it and using it for the track. I have a very familiar guest, as you guys have seen many times. We have Joseph here with us, who's helped me out in terms of giving me an ownership sort of feedback with his LC500, with the BMW M2, with the Acura NSX. We're gonna compare those cars now with his new toy. It's actually a new track toy, and we're gonna get some of his feedback so far, in terms of the C8 on track and what he's done to it to make it a little bit more performing on the track. So thank you very much, Joseph, for being with us once again. Congrats on the new car.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you. Yeah.
So as always, we're gonna get started with a few questions, and I'll see you guys on the inside. So welcome back. Let's get started right off the bat. I have the questions here in front of me, and we're gonna just dive right into it. Joseph, tell us a little bit. What made you choose a Corvette C8 over your other cars like the LC500, the NSX, or the M2? Was there something specific about the C8's performance or design that stood out for you?
Yeah, I wanted a car that I can track more and go faster in. And I was lucky enough that my buddy has the Stingray and a Z06, so if I had a chance to drive both. And I really like how easy the Stingray is to drive, how it behaves on track, how predictable it is. And I kind of really wanted to track the NSX, but it was just too expensive to do that, and parts are too hard to find. So this was kind of a good compromise in terms of track performance and parts availability, affordability. It just kind of worked out to be a good option for me.
You had, and correct me if I'm wrong, you had the M2 before, the G87 generation M2 that you were using for the track, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. The M2 is quite a beast, and being that also makes it hard to tame. So you do really need a lot of skills to be able to drive that car to its maximum potential. And even then, it'll still be slower than a Stingray.
I mean, it is a different engine layout. This is a rear mounted engine versus front mounted engine on the M2.
Yes.
So probably completely different feel on track as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The M2, you could tell it can be fast, but it always wants to step on you. So it was a little bit scary, to be honest. And even when on a perfect lap, they still can't quite beat the speed of a C8.
I never drove a C8 prior to today.
Yeah.
Of course, I read all the different crazy good reviews on the C8. Frankly, guys, I was blown away, specifically with the handling of the vehicle and the transmission. The biggest thing that really stood out for me was the transmission. I believe it's a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and I was literally blown away by that transmission in terms of how responsive it is. I would say it's really up there with the PDK from Porsche.
Yeah, with the M2, sometimes it would be in the wrong gear on the track, or it'd be not where you want it to be.
Yeah.
Of course, this kind of thinks for you. Just leave it in auto, and on the track, it knows exactly what gear to be in.
Oh, you leave it in automatic?
Yeah, so it's super easy. It's just super easy to drive.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So you're more just enjoying the track and kind of maximize your performance on the track without having to worry about the details.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I definitely see that. How's your experience been so far in terms of modifying the C8 for track use compared to modifying other cars?
Yeah, one of the best parts is that all the parts are cheap. I mean, like the side skirts, the splitters, there's tons and tons of options, and they're at a fraction of the price of, like an NSX part or a Lexus part.
Right.
So it's kind of good that you don't have to worry about finding a replacement part, and don't have to worry about it getting damaged on the track, because it's very easily replaceable. So that's the definite plus for it.
Easily replaceable, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's also a lot of aftermarket parts or components for the C8, correct?
Exactly, and also a lot of owners getting rid of stock parts. So if you want to replace it with a stock part, you're not having to go to the dealership and pay an astronomical price. You can find one on eBay cheap. or Facebook and easily replace it. So,
Makes sense. And speaking about, upgrades or modifications, what would you say are the most significant performance upgrades that you've made to the C8, and how have they impacted, your track times?
the lucky part is that I bought the car with a lot of the performance upgrades already.
Yep.
The most kind of the impactful ones would be the brakes.
The brakes, yeah.
Yeah, that they're ASP racing brakes that are designed for the track, and you can literally stomp on them for 30 minutes at a time. It never fades. You get consistent performance every time. And on the track, that's very, very valuable.
For sure. I mean, when I was driving your car, it's just the first thing I noticed was that initial bite.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you like put your foot on the pedal, you even like just tap it a little bit, it just bites right away.
I'm still finding myself braking way too early at the tracks because, being used to my M2 and my Lexus, I'm always having to brake early.
Right.
Or it's just you could, brake a lot deeper into the corners.
Yeah, for sure.
So
And
that makes a big impact on the track.
I think it also makes a difference. I mean, not compared to the NSX. I mean, NSX might be a little heavier than this, given the fact that it's a hybrid setup. But the fact that this is a rear engine vehicle definitely helps with the braking as well.
Yeah.
Instead of like nosediving every single time into a corner, right? No, that's pretty cool. How does the C8's mid-engine layout compare to the front-engine layout of your LC500 or even the hybrid setup of the NSX in terms of handling and performance?
I would have to say that I'm really sold on the rear engine design now. So most, if not all my cars going forward are probably going to have a mid-engine.
Okay.
It's so much more predictable on the track.
Yeah.
And the handling, the weight distribution is better. The rear loads when you're exiting corners is better. Just the balance is so much more predictable and easier to drive.
You're referring to moving forward only for track cars, because it's not like you can find a lot of rear engine or rear mid-engine cars. So
I don't know. I'm pretty sold on it. The NSX is kind of similar as well. And I love the way that handles. So I think I'm pretty much done with the front engine cars.
Really?
Likely.
No, like you wouldn't even consider, I don't know, like a GT car maybe? For like a daily drivability, perhaps?
After getting this car and the NSX, I'm not driving my LCS often anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I think at least at this stage in my life, I feel like I'm having more fun with a rear engine, mid-engine design.
That says a lot, because I mean the LC500 as a daily drivable sort of comfortable but also a little bit sporty type of vehicle. It's pretty good. But the fact that you're saying this, I mean, it's quite surprising. Take note, people. Take note. How'd you compare this to the driving dynamics and comfort of the C8 with the NSX and the M2, especially on track?
This car, it is more mechanical and you don't get as much feedback, but it's very capable. So you're able to drive it fast, even though you're not having all that tactile feel of the steering, or, you can trust what it'll do, but you might not get as direct of an input of what it's doing.
Like feedback, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of similar to the M2, it'll do everything, but you just don't know what it's doing. Or this kind of does that on a higher and better level. I would say the NSX does give you more feedback, and you're able to kind of sense what it's doing and kind of maximize what it can do more. But I think this has more performance at a higher level. So even though you're not at the max, you're still going crazy fast.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that. So speaking of that, I mean, can you share any memorable track experiences with the C8 that really showcased its capabilities?
Just lap times.
Lap times, yeah. Makes sense.
On an
Very
M2,
objective.
I would have to be perfect to get a decent lap time, whereas this, I screw up a couple of times and I'm still faster than an M2. And this has similar power levels, similar weight, so it's pretty impressive what it can do.
So could you share some of the biggest challenges or learning curves that you faced when transitioning from the other cars, like the M2, LC500, NSX maybe perhaps, rear mid-engine setup from the C8?
Yeah, surprisingly, the transition's really easy. It just kind of, everything is just easier. So wasn't really any sort of work to kind of drive it hard. At the firm, I was able to drive my buddy's Z06 the first time, and I had a 115 in it the very first session I did in it, which is an amazing time. Because with the M2, the quickest I was able to get was like 117, 118, and that was hard. So
Wow.
it's kind of like you jump in there for the first time and you're able to go that fast. It's kind of just goes to the engineering that's been done on the car and how well and easy it is to drive.
I mean, look, just when I jumped into the car just now before, I didn't find it very difficult to actually get used to driving
Yeah,
it.
it
It's
doesn't.
actually
Yeah,
very, it's forgiving, and it's not, it doesn't scare you in any way whatsoever. The
yeah,
only downside I would say, and I mentioned it to you, was the blind spots.
yeah, yeah.
Blind spots on the C8 aren't great.
And like I was telling him, if you're having trouble with blind spots, it means you're driving too slow.
I guess so. Yeah. In my case, I was. Given your collection that you have right now,
Yeah.
what unique qualities do you think that the C8 offers that your other cars don't?
I think what I like about it is the performance level it offers, yet it's still versatile. I mean, it has
Right.
a huge trunk, uh, a trunk that fits 2 golf bags, so you can still use it as a daily driver, get all your groceries, get all your parts. And then the Targa top comes off.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, so you kind of almost get a convertible without having to deal with the convertible issues.
I personally don't understand, frankly speaking, why
Yeah.
somebody, and guys, comment below, why somebody would get a convertible C8 when you have a Targa.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's manual. You have to remove it manually, but I mean, you get the beauty of a coupe, of the coupe lines. You get the rigidity of the coupe, but you also have the convenience of removing the
Yeah.
top and getting sort of that convertible feel.
There is a lot of wind buffeting at freeway speeds, so
Uh-huh.
I think that might be part of the reason why people get the convertibles.
There must be
Yeah.
some type of solution.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if you go into the forums,
Yeah.
there must be some type of
Yeah.
solution for the wind buffeting, like happened for the Supra. Supra had massive
yeah.
wind buffeting. It was just simple solution that you
Yeah.
put on the side view mirrors.
Yeah.
So
And I think a lot of the convertible owners are over 60, so they probably don't want to mess with taking the Targa top off.
probably also.
And I would figure when I get older, I probably get lazier too. So
So speaking of its versatility, how would you balance using the C8 for both daily driving and track days compared to your other cars?
yeah, like I mentioned, the front is big, the trunk is huge, so it's actually the most practical daily driver of all the three cars I currently own.
Really?
Yeah, the LC, the trunk is very flat, unfortunately. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
hard
not
to
very,
fit stuff.
it's not very high. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Doesn't have much height.
And then the NSX is even worse, although it offers a very unique experience in its own. So I still love all three cars, but this one's easy to have fun in, affordably.
Didn't you have a C8 before and you got rid of it shortly after?
Yes, I had it for a month. I was living in Dallas at the time,
Okay.
so all the roads were straight, and I was driving on the freeway a lot. This does have significantly more the noise and vibration, at higher speeds,
Because
So-
of the modifications.
and just it's in stock form.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not as well insulated, so
Right.
you get a lot more road noise. And like I mentioned, the buffeting at higher speeds. So when I was living in Dallas at the time, all that freeway driving, it just wasn't pleasurable because I wasn't able to utilize the performance aspects of the car.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
Makes sense. So if you're looking to maybe use it a little bit more in terms of back roads, in terms of track use, and some daily driving, it's a great car.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. But if
Well-
you're looking for a tour, you're on the freeway, 90% of the time, you probably won't enjoy this as much.
Well, that brings us to our last question, which is if you could give advice to someone considering a Corvette C8 or any of the other cars that you've owned, what would you highlight as the most important factors to consider?
Just whatever you have the most fun in. Try them all and see what you like. You never know till you try it.
Right.
The C8, there's just so much value for the car. It's kind of hard to overlook. And people always compare it to a supercar and then say, no, there's too many on the road. But who cares? You're driving the car, enjoy it. And, personalize it, make it your own, and, just have fun with it.
And you did do a very, very good job in terms of personalizing yours. I mean, it's got that, what's the livery?
The C8R?
C8R livery.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks phenomenal.
Thank you.
Frankly speaking, it looks great. It really individualizes it
Yeah.
from the rest and makes it stand out from the rest of the C8s that you see on the road.
Yeah, one of the best parts is, picking my daughter up from her elementary school. you know,
Nice.
all the other kids, they're kind of staring at it, screaming, and they love it. So that you know, that gives the car, you know, even more personality and make it more fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you very much. I hope you keep on enjoying this car.
Yeah.
I definitely have to come with you one of these days to the track.
Okay.
I know that you go quite a bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll show you guys, if I end up going to the track, I'll show you guys some track footage, and I get to experience some of that as well. So guys, as always, if you did enjoy this video, you found some informational or good information out of this video, make sure to give it a like. It definitely helps a lot with the channel. Make sure to stay tuned for additional content. And if you have any questions or comments, make sure to put it down in the comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.